Sometimes it's not about what you're building, but why you're building it. I'm making a ring box, not just any ring box, but the one I'll use to ask my future wife one of the most important questions of our lives. Stick around and watch as a few pieces of wood turn into a unique gift for one of the most meaningful moments of my life. I started by measuring the ring to determine the ideal size for the box. For the wood, I choose a combination of walnut and cherry. In my wood storage, I found two beautiful pieces that are perfect for this project. Using a drill bit, I marked the center of the box and then created a cavity for the ring with a Forstner bit. This is much easier when a piece hasn't been cut to size yet. At the mighty saw, I cut the walnut piece to length. From the cherry wood, I selected the section with the most attractive grain and cut it accordingly at the table saw. Once I found an arrangement that I liked, I marked the parts and started cutting them to size at the mitre saw. I then decided to do the final length cuts on a table saw, as it's much easier to handle small pieces there. To join the lid and the box with mitered corners, I carefully marked the edges where the mitres should go. At the table saw, I used the stop block to ensure all parts ended up the same length. Next, I picked out a suitable section of cherry wood for the lid and made the first cut. Using a caliper, I measured how long the lid needed to be, marked the length on the cherry wood and cut it at the table saw. I followed the same process to determine and cut the width. With all the pieces cut, I did a quick dry fit to ensure everything lined up. Once satisfied, I started the gluing process. Since I planned to use the walnut base as a stopper for the lid, I glued the parts separately. For such small parts, clamps weren't necessary. I simply used masking tape. I sprayed wood glue on the miter joints, placed the lid on top, and fixed everything with masking tape. While the glue dried, I worked on refining the ring cavity. I wanted the ring to stand upright in the box, rather than lie flat. To achieve this, I widened the cavity made by the Forstner bit, using a drill bit, and removed the remaining material with hand tools. Before the glue was completely dry, I removed the excess glue with a chisel. I then cut the cherry wood piece in two at the bandsaw, creating the lid and the frame for the box. Afterward, I sanded the cut edges to ensure a smooth finish. The walnut piece was then inserted from below into the frame and glued in place with wood glue. Once the frame was properly positioned, I sanded the bottom of the box. The lid can now be held in place by the protruding walnut piece. To ensure the lid doesn't fit too tightly, I beveled the inside edges of the lid and the edges of the walnut piece. A bit of sanding allowed me to fine-tune the fit perfectly. To make it easy to place the lid in the correct orientation, I decided to engrave an infinity symbol. Initially, I tried burning the symbol into the wood, but when that didn't turn out well, I opted to use a permanent marker instead. Finally, I sanded and treated the box with a blend of beeswax, linseed oil and carnauba wax. And with that, the project was complete.